Judging by the amount of horn blowing, there's great support for our nurses in the community. They gathered outside the Hunter New England Health headquarters today and put their case strongly for better staffing levels.
Our workloads have got heavier and heavier, and senior management has taken no notice to a point that we're scared. We're scared of patient care, we're scared of doing things that we're not given enough backup and education for.
The nurses say it's crunch time to introduce a more workable staff to patient balance.
Enough is enough. We need something now. This has gone on for too long. Victoria's had theirs since 2002. They've proved that it works. They've got the nurses to fund it. And we need something similar here in New South Wales, and we need it now.
Long-time public sector nurses say they're fearful of being sued by patients if things go wrong. They say the situation has led to terrible morale in the profession.
It's a bit of a bleak-looking future with the ageing population, and we're scared of the workloads that it's going to pound us, and we can't do it.
Paul Lobb, NBN News.
The blue and red hold on Energy Australia Stadium will soon be no more.
I think it is important that the community does know that we will take over control of the stadium from the 1st of April.
But who knows if the grass will be greener on the other side. In recent times, the ground has been through a wild ride. Last month's motorcycle events made the Knights' management look a little patchy. Now, after a 14-month fight, the picture is clearer. The state government-run Hunter venues will take control.
We have said from the very beginning that this is about fair and equal access for both teams.
And the Jets are the first to score. They've signed a 10-year agreement to use the ground.
We're paying a reasonable rent, but importantly there are a number of incentives built into the deal that allows us to benefit from increased crowds, increased usage.
As for the Knights, there was nothing coming from their office today. They've been offered the same deal.
I think that says a lot.
A Knights board member expressed disappointment that an agreement to keep the change of hands under wraps has been broken. Arbitration will continue with the state government on other matters, including car parking spaces and the size of the Hunter venue's corporate box. If agreement can't be reached, the Knights could well follow through with their original threat. That is, to leave Energy Australia Stadium and head down to the Central Coast. Nat Wallace, NBN News.
That is a decision that is entirely of the party. It is not a decision that I have entered into. I have always said that I'm prepared to face a rank and file pre-selection.
Newcastle Council has spent a large amount of ratepayers' money this year trying to convince the Land and Environment Court these trees outside the library and the art gallery are unsafe and need to be removed. But after a year-long campaign by the council to get rid of the trees, some are asking what its position is on the other Hills figs of the same size and vintage right across Newcastle.
It's a bit surprising to find that just those 14 trees happen to be unacceptable level of risk, and yet all the other fig trees throughout Newcastle, the Hill, Cooks Hill, that have been assessed are all acceptable levels of risk.
Councillor Michael Osborne believes the claims that the trees are unsafe is a furphy designed to clear Layman Street so the gallery and library can be redeveloped. No one from Newcastle Council would speak on camera today, but a spokesperson issued a statement saying that any suggestion of an ulterior motive in the trees' removal is absurd. These figs, just a block away from the condemned ones in Layman Street, are considered safe.
Cities all over the world, cities throughout Australia, are losing large trees. And where we've got less space for large trees, people are more risk averse, there's more concern about conflict with infrastructure.
Paul Lobb, NBN News.
The Beckham Express is finally on its way to Newcastle. The Galaxy is now sitting in business class, yes, including David Beckham, and a mid-air somewhere between LA and Australia. It'll jet into Sydney Airport at around 8 a.m. tomorrow before boarding a private flight to Williamtown. When the team arrives, security will be tight.
There's the accommodation and where we're staying, there's the movement of the staff, any social agenda, VIP functions, and then of course match day. The match day security operation is on par with what you would see for a major event for the Newcastle Knights. The team from NES has moved into the same hotel where Bex and his teammates will be staying. For security reasons, we can't reveal exactly which one it is, but it's definitely somewhere in Newcastle. Up to 100 security guards will be on hand to make sure the players are protected, both from the public and from a media contingent unlike anything Newcastle's seen before. It seems they'll also be trying to prevent a certain reporter getting that elusive interview with David. There is a list. You can put your name on the list. It's 1,000 miles long. I think you might be about 1,011 on the list.
These two guys sure know how to stand out in a crowd, but can these dedicated Jets fans catch the attention of David Beckham?
If he sees us, he'll probably wonder what's going on, but no, I suppose he'll like it.
What do you think David Beckham will think of your outfit?
Oh, I'm sure he'll like it. He'll probably ask us where we got it from.
A lot of elements about David Beckham's visit to Newcastle are unclear. What is clear is he'll be playing here, Energy Australia Stadium, on Saturday night for at least 55 minutes. The question now, is this turf, which has recently been relaid, Beckham ready?
It's a safe venue. It doesn't look as good as we'd all like it to look, but it's safe and playable, and there are no issues with the turf.
The cream of Australian golf, all with their eyes on one prize, and none more than tournament host and local boy Nathan Green, a US PGA Tour winner who's always keen to impress on home soil.
Great to be in your home area and playing a great tournament.
But Green's backing Stephen Bowditch as the event favourite. He's coming off a win in the New South Wales PGA in Wollongong.
To get the New South Wales PGA and the New South Wales Open, I mean, that'd be to hold both titles would be. It'd be great.
And both agree last year's winner, a relaxed Lee McKechnie, can't be overlooked.
There's really no monkey on my back this year, just to go and enjoy the company.
Australian Tour veteran Peter O'Malley is gunning hard for his maiden Open win in 11 appearances.
The course is in great shape and putting's going to be a huge key here. And I'm not going to see anything miss, so it'll be great.
And those who plan on being on top of the leaderboard know the class field will make it hard to stay there.
Definitely the best we've ever seen up this way.
The battle begins from 6:45 a.m. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
Why is it that a world champion can make the difficult look so easy? If they're like Tim Bradstreet, it's because they love what they do, but also train harder than anyone else, and that's the main reason he's the best junior water skier in the world.
I've got so much left in the tank now, and it's just given me a little bit of fire. I want more now. I don't want just that, and just got so much more ahead of me.
And when it's a ski jump, you really do have to hang on for the ride.
Jump's it. I mean, flying, nothing beats it. You're just up there, just like a little aircraft in the air, so it's just awesome, yeah. If you do something wrong, you get punished for it. You come down hard and you crash and burn, and that can be in hospital, and that's the danger of it, and that's why I like it.
Bradstreet knows all about it. Still forced to brace his knee, he defied doctors early this year in order to compete at the recent world titles with spectacular results. Clearing almost 60 metres, it was further than any before at his age. It's prompted the 17-year-old to aim even higher, but as things really start to take off, there's a grounding reality.
I've got my HSC going on. My teachers will hold me to my word. I've got to calm down a little bit on my skiing, and concentrate a lot on my schooling for the next year.
If they can't find him, at least they'll know where to look. Jim Callanan, NBN News.
Yes, the man himself has finally arrived. David Beckham and his LA Galaxy teammates flew into Sydney this morning before boarding a private flight to Newcastle. Now, we've only managed to catch a few glimpses of the sporting legend today. Some of his teammates ventured to the beach, but David stayed inside his hotel room. But with all the interest in his visit, who could blame him? Our first glimpse of David Beckham this morning on Aussie soil, and he was all smiles. The world's most high-profile soccer star and his LA Galaxy teammates jetted into Sydney Airport to much fanfare, pausing for a quick happy snap with our US-born premier and addressing that lingering speculation about whether his wife would join him on the trip.
My wife and the kids would have obviously loved to have been here, but they're celebrating Thanksgiving. Victoria's just come back from a long trip from working in Europe, and we always make sure that one of us is with the boys at all times.
With that out of the way, the focus returned to what Bex is really here for, an exhibition match against the Newcastle Jets on Saturday night.
It's been a good season for us, and we're here to enjoy ourselves, but we're also here to perform as well.
And just how will he do that?
We just got told that the wine is pretty good in Newcastle, so we might have a glass or two maybe after the game.
After the brief stopover in Sydney, a much smaller plane whisked the team up to Newcastle, with David keen to take advantage of the view. There was much less fuss at Williamtown, with a handful of fans waiting to see their idol. But many were left disappointed. Bex was first off and first into the bus.
Something would have been great. Really disappointing, actually.
Caught a glimpse of him. I wasn't sure how cut off it would be from the public, but again, it's just great to get a glimpse of him coming in.
And it was much the same at the team's harbourside accommodation.
We were actually just driving past. We heard they were going to the beach, so we were heading that way, and we saw a bit of stuff happening, so we jumped out and we're waiting. So,
according to those in the know, he was just tired.
He's a down-to-earth guy. I mean, it speaks volumes when you get offered to fly first class ahead of your teammates and he chooses to sit back with his teammates. That's the mentality of the man. That's why he's regarded so highly around the world.
We are assured David won't lock himself up inside his hotel room the whole time he's here.
He'll be out and about. Tourism New South Wales have put on a whole range of activities for the players. Most of them are looking forward to getting down to the beach.
Which is where we caught up with a few of the players, including the man regarded as America's greatest ever soccer player, Landon Donovan. Tomorrow is our best chance of seeing David Beckham out and about. He will be at a kids' football clinic tomorrow morning before a training session at Energy Australia Stadium. As for the rest of the day, it's a mystery. Back to you.
The state government has granted approval for a subsidiary of Advent Energy to drill for gas off Newcastle. The federal government must now also give the green light before a test rig can be established 55 k's offshore. The community group Hands Off Our Coast says any offshore drilling risks polluting Hunter and Central Coast beaches. Meantime, the chief of another exploration company, Eastern Star Gas, briefed Newcastle business leaders today about plans to export liquefied natural gas from the port of Newcastle. The company hopes to harvest gas in Narrabri, pipe it to Newcastle, then export it in ships to Asia.
And in fact, New South Wales would at that point well and truly be a net exporter of gas, whereas today almost every drop of gas used in this state is coming in from either South Australia or Victoria or Queensland. So we can turn that whole thing around.
These are the sorts of industries that, along with the coal sector, will continue to power the Hunter industry and keep our economy absolutely booming as it is at the moment.
Paul Lobb, NBN News.
Steroids have been used by athletes since the 1950s to improve muscle mass, endurance and recovery. They're illegal without a prescription and definitely aren't recommended for growing bodies.
Anabolic steroids, so they're drugs, then that can maybe permanently alter the remodelling of the brain.
But personal trainer of 10 years, Mark Hingston, says more and more teenagers are taking the risk.
There's been a little bit of talk around the gyms through other trainers as well. You also notice down at the beach on the weekends, being beach season now, we're seeing many kids down there and it's very obvious who's on them and who's not.
Mr Hingston says there's only one thing on the teens' minds, image, and they aren't educated about the side effects of steroid use.
A lot of them have a fast metabolism which makes it hard to put on weight and we're finding that they're using drugs as a quick fix but they're not considering the long-term effects it has on their body.
They include acne, stunted growth, high blood pressure, diabetes, liver damage, impotency and aggression.
Very high levels in susceptible people, and that maybe about 5% of the population are susceptible, and we don't know who that is, can cause severe aggression and what are called roid rages, and that is a form of mental illness.
Lauren Bladwell, NBN News.
There have been high-profile education campaigns, but domestic violence remains a largely hidden crime, and it's alarmingly prevalent, affecting nearly 500,000 Australian women every year.
People don't like to look at domestic violence, and they certainly don't like to think it's on their doorstep, but it is, and it is a problem.
Kate Dayton from Jenny's Place is striving to raise awareness, creating a website, Domestic Violence Newcastle. In a first for the region, it brings together local information and support.
With the victims, it gives them resources and support, and with the community, it helps to raise awareness and reduce social stigma and the exclusion that still surrounds domestic violence.
The Hunter and Central Coast regions have among the highest rates of domestic violence in the state. The website is designed to give victims easy access to information in a non-confronting way.
A lot of people don't want to talk about it, so this is a way for them to confirm that what they're experiencing is domestic violence, and as well find out there are a lot of resources available and support available to them.
The website can be found at domesticviolencenewcastle.com.au.
Last night we brought you Harrison Nash's big win in the Premier's Spelling Bee in Sydney. Today he returned to Biddabar Public School a hero.
It's the best feeling I could ever have.
After being presented with a certificate by the principal, Harrison told us that he's simply fascinated by words and spelling.
because I started learning languages, and then I've been noticing in certain words that I see different letters put together from other languages. I'm going, interesting. So I just started learning more.
He knows some French, German and Spanish so far, and the Year 4 pupil has also added paediatric medicine to his list of reading. He's already decided to become a doctor based on a family experience.
Because my sister was born premature, over 3 months premature, and she was in hospital for 2.5 months. She was very sick and she was looked after really well, and I would like to do the same.
All this at only 10 years of age. We can only imagine what Harrison will achieve in his next decade. Paul Lobb, NBN News.
Picture perfect weather at the Hunter Valley's vintage golf course, and local Nathan Green definitely played to the conditions. Grouped with New South Wales PGA winner Stephen Bowditch and last year's tournament winner Lee McKechnie, McKechnie found the going tough throughout the day. Bowditch's approach on the 4th was well received, but it was one of only a few. Bowditch fired a 2 under 69, while McKechnie carded a 4 over 75, both well off the pace. The tournament host, however, not getting too confident following his 7 under 64 performance.
Not getting too excited about it. I think I started with a 7 under last year and ended up about 3 or 4 over for the tournament.
Few expected little-known amateur Michael Smythe to make a name for himself, but he did, early on at least. The 17-year-old led the field after 15 holes, but came undone towards the end, finishing on 4 under. Central Coast golfer Andre Stoltz didn't bring his A-game, finishing even for the day. But Peter O'Malley did, who was well up the ladder towards the end of the day. Competition resumes tomorrow. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News. There were some sore jets this morning, but definitely no sorry ones after another blockbuster F3 derby. As usual, it was battle of the fittest last night, and Marco Jesic was keen to cause some damage early on. The visitors kept pace, but so too did Ben Kennedy. English import Francis Jeffers only lasted 30 minutes, the Mariners taking advantage of his departure, highlighting a lacklustre Jets defence in the process. Lubo Milicevic made his return from suspension known, so too Ali Abbas. The Mariners returned from half-time with renewed spirit, and Matt Simon once again grounded the Jets. Joby Wheelhouse tried his best to keep up as an injured Lubo Milicevic watched on, but it was an old enemy who did the damage. The Mariners tried again, but both sides walked away sharing the points. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
After laying low much of yesterday, David Beckham finally ventured out of his harbourside accommodation to share a drink with his teammates last night. He wasn't too keen to stick around though, rushing back to his room. Maybe his rather burly security guard was acting as pizza delivery boy. The man of the moment was much more visible this morning, happy to sign autographs and pose for photos. And keen to keep the focus on what he's here for.
We're just looking forward to the game, to be honest. It's going to be an exciting game and looking forward to it.
And so are these kids who gathered for a mass football clinic this morning and to rub shoulders with the LA Galaxy and the Newcastle Jets. This has got to be the luckiest one of all. Little Harrison getting a superstar hand with those pesky shoelaces.
What did David Beckham do for you?
He tied my shoelaces up.
Indeed he did, and 9-year-old Bridget got the same offer, but she declined.
Do you wish you had let him tie your shoelace?
Yes, I really do.
It's clear David Beckham isn't just a football superstar, he's also king of the kids, charming the 640 school children and a certain reporter. Some of the kids needed cooling down because of all the excitement and, of course, the oppressive heat.
I was really excited that David Beckham was coming, and I was just over the moon when he came over and signed my shirt.
It was then back to business for the famous number 23 with a training session at Energy Australia Stadium. The crowd came along too, all keen to see him do what he does best. Among them, rugby league great Gordon Tallis, who brought his family along for a sticky beak.
When someone big like a Beckham or Tiger Woods come out, I think you're mad not to come and just appreciate the skill level that he's got.
Bex even cleaned up after training and laughed at our suggestion that it was probably someone else's job, all before taking more time to meet and greet the fans.
What have you got in your hands?
I've got an autograph from David Beckham.
Is that on your school shirt?
It is. I've finished year 10 now, so it's worth it.
Finally, some encouraging news for the people of Kurri Kurri and their hospital. The Bureau of Health Information measured hospitals by their emergency departments, elective surgery rates and infection control. It rated Kurri Hospital 8th among the state's medium acute hospitals, with the rate of emergency patients treated on time at between 80 and 97%, while 91% of patients received elective surgery within a 30-day benchmark. Kurri also recorded a 0 infection rate, as did Cessnock, which rated 4th on the Bureau's list, with Singleton 15th, while Newcastle's John Hunter Hospital was 6th in its category for emergency wait times and 8th for elective surgery.
But we've provided information so that those hospitals can track their performance across time.
But Opposition Health spokesperson Gillian Skinner says the performance of country hospitals isn't a good indication of the overall state of the health system.
The ones that you really need to focus on are the big hospitals, teaching in the city, but out in the country, the big base regional hospitals.
Ms Skinner claims that, on the whole, emergency departments aren't treating patients on time. Lauren Bladwell, NBN News. While the gas drilling project's Community Consultative Committee met behind closed doors inside Newcastle City Hall, outside the protesters' message was clear.
21 k's off Port Stephens, like this beautiful pristine water. I just think we've got to stop, take a breath and think about what we're actually doing.
What's upsetting them most is a perceived lack of community consultation. The project was approved 10 days ago, but until recently, the demonstrators say most of them didn't even know about the proposal.
I don't think we've been informed enough, and also I don't think things have been looked into properly, and just the community as a whole knows nothing about it.
This has been around for a year, no one's heard anything about it, it's really secretive.
The protesters had hoped Advent's Chief Executive David Breeze would leave today's meeting to answer their questions.
I'm not getting my questions answered from anybody. I'm not getting any guarantees that there won't be any environmental impact. I'm not getting any guarantees as to what happens in the case of an oil or gas spill. And I had hoped that Mr Breeze would be able to come out this morning and personally answer those questions.
He didn't, but he offered NBN News this.
This drilling has been subject to more scrutiny than perhaps any other well ever before in Australia, and the amount of material that we've supplied to both state and federal governments over a period of a year is very substantial.
Lauren Bladwell, NBN News.
After a course record yesterday, Peter Cook found it hard to live up to expectations early on. The South Australian carded a series of bogeys on the first 9, but did find form on the back. He eventually fired a second round 73 and sits at 8 under for the tournament.
Yeah, not as great today. I had 2 over, but I still hit the ball pretty nicely.
Veteran Peter O'Malley didn't falter. Now in his 11th New South Wales Open, his approach to the final hole showed why he stood the test of time. His birdie putt ensured he finished at 4 under for the round and 10 under for the tournament.
Today just went out there and played good solid golf and only missed 1 fairway and 1 green, and so I didn't really put much pressure on my game.
Toronto's Nathan Green certainly wasn't short of fans today. After a birdie and par on the first and second, he also set himself up well on the third and didn't have any trouble finding the hole for par. Unlike recent New South Wales PGA winner Stephen Bowditch, who stayed well down on the leaderboard, and Lee McKechnie looks unlikely to reproduce his winning performance from last year following a series of bogeys. The Open continues tomorrow. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
They're here to play the Jets, and they came from all directions today. Only training lightly, David Beckham left it to his coach to confirm he's fine to play despite a recent groin injury.
I think he's fine. He had no problems in training today. He's going to start the game and he may end the game.
He has to play at least 55 minutes to fulfil contract obligations, but the Galaxy is keen for a show with all the trimmings, promising to field their strongest lineup possible, including Landon Donovan, who some consider bigger than Bex.
He's an icon and people want to see him, and it's great. It's been fun.
Despite some obvious issues in parts after that now infamous motorcycle event, which damaged sections of the field.
I'm sure guys will be wary in certain spots to make sure they're careful, but we'll play the way we normally play.
As for this game being a friendly, the Galaxy lost the last time they came to Australia and don't want a repeat.
Right now it's a friendly and we're just happy to be here and put on a show, but once you're in the game, you want to win.
Well, we're enjoying ourselves, but we're certainly going to take the game seriously.
What a way to make your top grade debut for a club. A game against David Beckham.
Very excited, mate. Very excited. Can't think of a better game to really step in and have a go.
With only one A-League match to his name 3 seasons ago, Nash is now the last line of defence for Newcastle due to Ben Kennedy's knee injury. The new shot stopper can only imagine what it'll be like to see Beckham heading his way.
I guess I wouldn't want to have a heart rate monitor on me at that stage.
Coach Branko Kalina has even bigger concerns, already coping with the loss of a number of key players to injury. He's now trying to balance a competitive side with his longer-term plans for the A-League season.
You don't want players to get injured in this match. Having said that, we have to make sure that every game we go into, we want to win.
That's the feeling from his players, who are fit to take the field with pride on the line, if nothing else.
I was happy when they came here last time and the Aussie boys showed them how it was done, so hopefully do the same thing so we have that one up on MLS again.
Yeah, so a little bit of pride at stake.
Yeah, a lot of pride at stake.
There's no doubting the pulling power that David Beckham has. His attendance is also enough to entice the Jets' most important fan to tomorrow night's match. It's understood club owner Nathan Tinkler will attend his first home game since he bought the club.
I had a lot of visa trouble, so I was stuck in Australia for 6 years. I wasn't a real happy man, but I've got there now the last 3 years and I'm climbing that ladder to get that gold bucklet. He hadn't been rode to date, so it's a match up for me.
Clean-shaven and dressed to impress, David Beckham arrived for the LA Galaxy's official welcome party last night. It was another fleeting appearance by the football superstar, who's kept a relatively low profile, although our cameras did manage to catch Becks, along with Galaxy captain Landon Donovan, having some happy snaps with Newcastle Jets bosses this morning. That was before Beckham retreated back to his secure hotel to prepare for tonight's exhibition match. 9-year-old Harrison was lucky enough to get up close and personal with the sporting star yesterday when his shoelaces came untied at a mass football clinic. But he was more worried about what his mum would think when she saw the photos.
Because she hates people tying my shoelaces up. Maybe because she wants me to learn how to tie them up, but I never do.
8-year-old Zeke is hoping for a similar brush with fame tonight. The soccer-mad Newcastle boy will walk onto the field with the LA Galaxy and obviously wants to accompany David Beckham.
He's a really good soccer player and I've liked him since I was like a little kid. He is one famous guy.
He certainly is. Kate Mitchell, NBN News. Barry O'Farrell rallying his troops with the name on everyone's lips.
We don't need posh, we actually need Bex. We need someone who focuses not on image but someone who's actually known for doing things.
It was the final Liberal council meeting before the state election, which the coalition is strongly tipped to win, and the location was no accident.
In 4 months' time, if we don't succeed in the Hunter, we're unlikely to deliver the government that New South Wales so desperately wants.
Mr O'Farrell spoke about plans to improve transport through an integrated agency and schools through 60 additional numeracy and literacy teachers. But he didn't offer any new policies for the Hunter, nor did he have any news on a candidate for the hotly contested seat of Newcastle. He says that will be announced in 2 weeks.
You shouldn't just run timetables to suit the media, you shouldn't run timetables to suit other agendas. But the point is, we will still have candidates in the field earlier than any other stage since 1988.
One of those candidates is former teacher Robin Parker.
We must change government, so it's a great feeling of enthusiasm and motivation.
And any Liberals who snag a seat in the traditional Labor heartland will join a rare few.
Unfortunately, the Hunter has been ignored. I was the first one to win a Liberal seat in the Hunter since, I think, Bob Roberts 20-something years ago.
Lauren Bladwell, NBN News.
This is an area that just is a great example of where people are coming to shopping centres now not to shop but actually to participate in community activities.
Tennis is his game, but golf is one of John Newcomb's passions, and he joined tournament host Nathan Green for the 3rd round as part of the event's signature Pro-Am style weekend.
My problem has been I haven't been able to sink any short putts, but don't tell anyone that because today is going to be the big change.
It must have been good company as he got some joy with the flat stick. But it was the pros, Green in particular, who the crowd had come to see, and he enjoyed a great start, picking up a birdie and a share of the lead on the first. It was a case of youth and experience in the final group. And Peter O'Malley was using every bit of his know-how with shots like this, seeing him pick up 2 strokes in the first 3 holes and take the outright lead. Welsford was doing what he could to keep pace with the veteran, but consecutive bogeys on the turn halted his run. With a day to play, Green remains well placed. But everyone will be out to catch O'Malley for the title.
Perhaps crisis talks, and then what could be a vote-winning solution.
Today we announced that the New South Wales Government will reject the planning proposal for Tilligra Dam.
The decision instantly popular.
We've been fighting this dam proposal for so long.
The $477 million project had been controversial from day one.
Tilligra Dam was always a distraction from Labor's political problems around Milton or Coppolis. It was never a solution to water across New South Wales.
There's been countless leaked reports and protests. And today the state government agreed. No dam is needed. It wasn't justified. The cost too large. As for the environment, there was a chance it would soak up the Williams River, destroy wetlands and many of our prized possessions.
We've been arguing this for 4 years. The Department of Planning agreed with us.
This is the first critical infrastructure Part 3A application that has been rejected by the government, so it is significant.
The dam had taken its toll on those in the tiny town of Dungog.
I've had to fight cancer as well as the dam.
Business had dried up, the damage to the economy estimated at $100 million. Only 4 of 38 farmers were still clinging to their land.
We'll work with the council there to try and see if we can help them.
This gives the people the confidence in the community that a dam in this location is no longer an option.
As for the $5 million customers paid for its construction already, it will be refunded. Hunter Water says it will accept today's decision and will now start work on Plan B.
We will be looking at water efficiency and management plus desal.
Nat Wallace, NBN News.
Great for the spectators, it turned out, and it's amazing to have 23, almost 24,000 fans turn out tonight. Was really incredible.
Beckham fever took hold at Energy Australia Stadium last night, and it had people singing in the car park. It was the night Newcastle had been waiting for, and the fans were abuzz, desperate to see Beckham do what he does best.
He's one of my all-time favourite players, so yeah, I just really want to see what he can do.
So what do you want to see him do tonight?
Bend it.
He's not bad looking though either.
No, he's not.
This mad LA Galaxy fan shelled out $3,000 to fly over from the US to support his team.
It's just what you do if you're a fan, and good friends with some of the players and the team, organization, so I love it.
And the match didn't disappoint, with Becks playing the full 90 minutes despite injury. He almost scored the goal everyone wanted to see. These girls probably don't even remember the game, only what happened after.
I am wearing David Beckham's jersey that he just wore while he was playing. I'm very excited.
Are you ever going to wash that?
No. I get to sleep with a part of Beckham every night.
After the match, Bex was full of praise for Newcastle.
We've enjoyed the night, we've enjoyed our time here in Newcastle, we've been treated unbelievably well. Anywhere we've gone in the city, everybody's been so warming towards us.
But admitted all the attention put him off a bit.
It's been intense since we've been here and, it's been difficult to get around. But like I said, everyone's been amazing to us and warming to us and, we couldn't be happier.
And it was that attention that prompted the football superstar to sneak out of Newcastle this morning. His LA Galaxy teammates were more obliging, signing some autographs before boarding their bus.
Now that David Beckham and the LA Galaxy have left Newcastle, these crowds who've gathered outside the Crown Plaza for the past 3 days are starting to leave and the place can return to normal. Kate Mitchell, NBN News.
Brand Beckham in Newcastle for a one-night show, and he almost delivered his trademark shot in the opening few minutes. The Galaxy didn't need to wait much longer, with their captain finishing off his first chance. It really should have been 2-0 after a Juninho rocket, but only replays picked that up. Newcastle picked up the pace, and after a few missed opportunities, Sasho Petrovski struck from close range. While the man they all came to see almost had the crowd back on their feet. Labano Haliti was straight as a die after the break. Beck's temper got the better of him before full time, and while in obvious distress, he played the full 90 minutes, much to the delight of fans.
It was a nice occasion, a full house, a full stadium, which is always great to play in front of. I'm sure everybody went home happy.
The Jets couldn't have scripted a better night on or off the field, particularly Sasho Petrovski. His goal, the second in 4 days, the perfect statement as he fights for more game time.
When the opportunity is there, you have to grab it and take it, and hopefully, I've done that, and I can convince the boss now to think about me a bit more.
For captain Casey Werman, the night had all sorts of highlights, but the best came at full time when he earned something special from David Beckham.
Hopefully we can do one of these per year and keep it going, because, you just see how it really brings the whole footballing community together, and you know that those people are there, you just got to tap into them.
As for the coach, he's got the A-League to focus on now, but was more than happy to revel in the success, considering the club almost didn't even exist just 3 months ago.
It's just been unbelievable, and since the new takeover, it's just fabulous. I was thinking of giving the game away, pretty much, to be honest.
Earning high praise from their opposition too, it's another game they're keen on, this time on LA's home turf.
We'd love to be able to do that, and I know our organisations are talking. Hopefully we can host Newcastle down the road.